Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and today we're going to be looking at a very cool new visual scripting language for the Godot game engine. Do have to emphasize, this is very early on, but there is a lot of potential here. I'm going to go ahead and just demo it here by creating a project. We'll call it Demo It Here. Of course, that goes into my temp directory because where else would it go? Let's go ahead and create that, no git, and create an edit. Now this one is actually available in the asset store. Again, it is very early on. I want you to set your expectations accordingly. So we're going to create a 2D scene we're going to use eventually. Go on up here to the asset lib and search for block or search for code because both will get you there. Block coding. This is the one you want. It is free, high level, based on like Scratch or MakeCode, those kind of game engines, or I guess you could say programming languages. We'll go ahead and install this guy right there. So all available through the asset library, makes things very simple for you. Come on up here. Once you've installed it, go ahead over to plugins and enable block code. And done. So if you've ever used Scratch before, you're going to be immediately comfortable here. But again, I got to warn you, this is very early on, but it has a lot of potential. So go ahead, let's add something into our scene, which of course would be our Godot logo. So here is our simple scene. And now if we want to add visual programming to this guy, what we do is add a new node on here, search for block or code, and then add in your block code node. This guy right here. And the minute you've done that, you will get this window right here. This is your programming interface. Basically, you are building with virtual Lego blocks here to do tasks as you want to see them done. So you've got various different on callback events, on ready, on process, physics process, and then queue free. One thing I want to note though, there is no ability to zoom, which is unfortunate. So I'm not gonna be able to zoom this in for you. The editor is fixed as it is. Hopefully that gets added as a future feature, or perhaps it's just something I don't know how to do, but control plus scroll, control plus plus isn't doing anything here. So what you do is basically respond to things. So basically we could do like on process. So this is the code that's gonna be called basically every pass or every frame through here. We could go ahead and just say change position by, like so, and then we could say in here the value 1, and I don't know if I need to do a 0 implicitly, but we'll go ahead and do that. So here is our simplest code. Basically, on process, every frame, this is going to be called, and let's go ahead and run this. So we got to save the current scene. So current scene is fine. We'll go ahead and run it, and then boom, there you see your code in action, and it's all working with this process of more or less, if it fits, do it. So what we're going to do now is add a little bit of logic here. So you see here we've got input, and you're going to notice here input is this circle, so we can only put this in a circle area, but we do have these nice little things like this, so this will fit under this little groove over here. So I go if something like so, and now what I can do is go back and grab that. So see how it's a circle inside? We're going to replace false with that particular circle. So now we're going to go here and say UI right, so you press the right arrow. If it is pressed, then we will run this code here. So we're going to move by 1 whenever we press right. Go ahead and run that. And here you see pressing the right arrow. And done. So we could also do it, again, I could do the logic once again. So if I want to do left, do the same process, basically drag another if in. You'll also notice we also have things like else. We have some straight up variables. So if you want to get the position of something, you can get the position by passing in this variable right here. We have other options as well. So here on the on load, for example, and here's where it gets a little bit clunky at times. It needs to do a little bit of like parsing of the logic there. But we could do something like sounds. So right here on load. So when we first come in here, we're going to load a file. So we're going to do, I believe it's going to be called alarm03.wave. This is literally just a file that I'm going to grab from somewhere else, and we're going to name it sound. And I'm going to just go ahead, copy that file. I got it from the Windows folder, by the way. Here, open up the file manager for our project like this. Drop our waveform in like so. So this is the code. When our game first loads up, it's going to go ahead and load that audio file. And then what we could do down here is on process. So say if we do, we'll do it in the right. We'll go ahead, the same thing. When I press the right arrow, we've got their other option here. So we're going to do play the sound, and the sound is called sound with volume 1 at pitch 1. Same thing. So again, load the code on the way in, and then each frame we're going to do the check. If we press the right arrow, we're going to move, and we're going to play a sound effect. Now this is going to be annoying because we're going to play the sound effect a lot. So each time I move, it's going to start the sound effect over again. But that is kind of the concept behind it. Another thing that we can do is actually have groups. So we could say onReady. We'll add this guy to the group things, like so. And then over here, we could do, we'll just keep our UI click over here doing the heavy lifting here. So say if UI right is pressed, what we can actually do is go ahead and call a method like so. So let's go ahead and call our group is called things. And things, so this is basically where you could call any method from an inherited class. So this is going to inherit from canvas item, which has a method called hide. And we'll go ahead and we'll call hide. So here you can see again. And now when I press right, okay, something went wrong. And the something that went wrong is the ultimate dyslexic moment. So I'm going to call the method hide on the group things. Did that backwards. Let's go ahead and run that again. And you can see now we disappear. That's it. That is how you would code in this guy. Again, you could also do call a method on a particular node. So you could give a node path here using the traditional approach. And this is how you would call into traditional code. Now, I'm not sure how you would actually pass parameters. Now, what I would love to see in this, other than the ability to zoom, is the ability to have more things defined. Things like these playing of audio. If we have more and more of these bricks defined, predefined code blocks, then this becomes very, very, very useful going forward. Another thing that's actually kind of neat about this is actually just a code generator. So on Ready, we're loading some audio and adding to a group. On Process, we're checking for arrow key, playing the sound, and so on and so forth. But you can see up here, print generated script, and click down here, and then in your output, you'll actually see the code that is created that does all these things. So basically, your on process is each frame, on ready is the initial setup, and here is the code that is handling everything that we worked with. Very, very cool. Now, one thing that you're going to find is delete. Now, delete is confusing because if you hit the delete key, you think it's going to delete the object that you have selected over here. So let's say I brought in this node over here and I want to get rid of it. If I hit delete, I will actually be deleting block code. I'll show you in a second how that works. So that's something else I would love to see fixed. I don't know if they can, but if you want to get rid of a node, what you do instead is you drag it off. So if you want to delete a node, you got a node in the scene. Again, get rid of it by basically dragging it off the scene, whereas at the same time, comes in here, I click it, I click delete, and it's going to delete all of our code. Definitely one of those downsides to this, but it is a very, very cool project. And I could see this being an excellent starting point for a beginner, especially if they add a lot of those bricks like you would see in Scratch or MakeCode that are encapsulations of common functions. Then this actually becomes easier to use than writing GDScript, but it's also generating GDScript for you, so it's a nice transitional path. I would love to see this project continue. I would actually love to see this implemented as an actual script as opposed to as a child node, but I don't know what's actually involved in doing that. But once again, it's MIT licensed. It is available under the asset library. This is an open source project. Again, MIT license right there. It's very active. So the last commit as of when I'm recording this was 2 hours ago. There are people contributing to this one already. There have been 5 releases so far, including one just 5 days ago. It has a lot of potential because I think the idea behind visual scripting, it's either to make things easier or cleaner. And this could potentially be both. But again, it has to build that high-level functionality on top where it makes tasks easier for you to use. But I think a lot of it is there right now. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the Godot block coding add-on, the block coding add-on available in the asset library. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this one, again, come on in, give this guy a couple stars. I think developers really seem to appreciate that. And this is a project I would love to see thrive and continue. But let me know what you think of it. Comments down below. Talk to you all later. Goodbye.